Hey guys, this is Dr. Hadi again here, and we are excited and we're kind of feeling very jittery right now. We're starting our podcast.
Yes,
This is
yes.
going to be something that we've been having in the works for a while, and
So long.
Hassan or Haz, as he'll be Haz on the show, and I'm Hadi on the show. So this is
Right.
Haz and Hadi Unplugged. We have a lot of interesting people we want to bring out, interesting topics to go over, all kinds of things that I think a diverse group of people will find interesting, and they'll
Yeah.
take away a lot from it. They'll be entertained. You're going to laugh. You may cry, but you're going to come away with something. I really, really am excited about it. We've been planning it for the last few months, and now we finally got the equipment. We've set up the studio. It's a beautiful studio. He did a great
I think you're
job.
going to tell them how we got to this point. I want you to take your time and really when you took it step by step.
I'll take you step by step. So look, Haz I've known for a few years, and I've actually known him a longer time, but in more of like a friendship capacity. It started from like 2020, because in 2020 I had gone to Senegal for the first time, February of 2020. And right before COVID, so people started to wear masks and stuff, but there was no real lockdown yet or anything. And I had gone February 2020 with my wife and kids, and was on that trip. Haz's brother, he's the one who set up that whole trip, Ajib, and he basically made sure that we went to the safari, the lion safari. Made sure we went to different parts of the country to see, because he wanted the kids to be interested. But he also took us to Medina Bay, which is like this
That's right.
spiritual city. It's in Kaolack region of Senegal. It's about a 3.5 hour drive from Dakar, the capital, if you've ever been there. And there's a direct flight now from JFK to Dakar with Air Senegal and Delta. It takes about 7 hours to get there. You can get on the good flight, leaves at like 11 p.m. at night. You go to sleep, you wake up, you land in Dakar. It's actually a wonderful thing, and we've done that. We've done that with Delta. We've done that with
Everything.
Air Senegal as well, and we've taken Turkish Airlines one too. But it's kind of out of the way. You got to stop in Istanbul. Anyway, so we started that, and he had done some photos, some video for us, because we wanted to do some charity work there too. So we just wanted it really for kind of like our charity. We wanted to get some good like footage, things like that. So he did it, and he did a wonderful job. I mean,
Well, thank you.
I was very impressed, and I was like, wow, And he doesn't really boast about this, but he's self-taught. It's not
That's
like he
right.
went to traditional formal schooling for this and everything, formal schooling. He basically kind of learned all of this on his own, and he kind of has learned through experiences and trying different things. So he's really become a master of this craft, I have to say. So then, we started to like get to know one another. We started actually like spending time with each other, and then in 2023 last year, I had needed him for another project, basically in Senegal as well. And I said, this time I hired him, for the job, and I was like, look,
In Saudi Arabia, by the way.
yeah, yeah. But I was like, look, I need you to do, I wanted to get the wells, the water wells that we're doing, the solar panel wells. I wanted you to get the school. I wanted him to get the feeding, the large feedings. I wanted him to get the school supplies to the elementary school. There was a lot of things that I needed done. And, he was like right with me the whole time. His brother as well, Ajib, he was right there with me the whole time as well. And he's the one who brought me together with Hassan. So with Haz, I should say. So I really owe him a lot of gratitude for that. But once he did that, then I saw the work and I saw the value in this work. I said, wait a minute, we have all these businesses, especially we have our medical businesses, and I was kind of lacking, or I needed support, I should say, in the aesthetics business, which is basically like, the Botox, the fillers, the threads, all this cosmetic stuff that we do, aesthetic stuff that we do, that part of the business, I really wanted to promote it, because, thank God, we do well in all our other medical businesses, but this one was kind of really lacking. And I was like, Haz, is there a way you could help me? And he goes, yeah, are you kidding? Of course, man. I got you, bro. Don't worry about it. You know how Haz is. So he's just like, yeah. Don't worry. Let's just try this out. He was the one who was like, look, just give me 3 months. Give me 3 months. Just hire me 3 months. And in 3 months, you'll see. And if you like it, you keep going. If you don't like it, no problem. No hard feelings, whatever. So I was like, you know what? What's 3 months? Let's give it a whirl. All right, let's give it a try. So I hired him for the 3 months. You know, we started making videos. We started doing TikTok, Instagram. We started covering some of the parties. And you know, after 3 months, I already started to see a huge spike in business, especially because a lot of these people who I would never be able to reach now are watching, and now now they're like, well, let me contact this guy. You know, he sounds like a nice guy. He's doing good work, and you know, let's just see what he has to say. So all these people started coming. I would ask them too. I was like, well, what's your referral? Usually, did you come from a doctor? Did you come from a friend, family member? You know, some ad? What was it? And majority of them were saying, no, I saw you on TikTok. Oh, I saw you on Instagram. So I was like, well, I was very pleased. And two, I was actually kind of surprised because I really didn't see the power of social media till now.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Like, I always tell him, I like, Haz, I should have done this like at least 5-6 years ago. You know, and he's like, listen, man, better late than never. That's okay. So once we started doing that, then we started building. Then, you know, I saw that, oh, wow, we're actually getting a decent following. And a lot of people would come in to the office, or they would catch me on the street now, and they recognize, you know, and we really wanted to take this to another level. Look, making nice videos, that's great. It's a good time. You get the staff involved. You get other people involved. You get other businesses involved. It's nice and everything. But, you know, I was like, Haz, we got to do something that will kind of like uplift us even more in this, and like kind of really get our message out more to more people. So actually, Luis, who's my good friend, and he's also my personal trainer.
Shout out Luis.
Shout out to Luis for BioMTOR Fitness. He, you know, comes to my home. He works me out. Great guy. Really. We're
gonna have him on the show soon.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's an excellent human being, and I think, you know, he's got a lot to say, and I think everyone will be very interested in what he has to say. But, you know, he had said to us originally, like, look, you should do a podcast. And I was like, a podcast? I was like, people want to listen to a podcast? He's like, Mo, you don't know. He goes, Hadi. He's like, everybody listens to podcasts. They listen to it on their commute. They listen to it at work. They listen to it on their way.
Everywhere.
Just hanging out. Nobody really watches TV anymore, movies. This is kind of like a thing of the past. He's like, everyone's on this podcast. I was like, oh, are you serious? And then he started showing me on his phone, you know, Haz. He was like showing me, like, look at this guy. He got 30 million subscribers. He got this many. And he's like, and I'm watching his thing, and I'm like, it's not even that good.
Right.
It's not even that good.
Right.
So I was like, Haz, you know, what do you think about this? And he goes, oh, I think it's a great idea. It's, you know, whatever. But he's like, we got to put it together. We got to get the space, the equipment, this, that, you know, our guest lineup.
This guy said, I got a space. What do you mean a space? Yeah. I'm like where?
So I said, listen, we have our second floor in one of our it's empty. I was like, let's just use that. He's like, all right. And then he's like, all right. He's like, how do you? He's like, I got it. I'll get the equipment. I'm gonna put this together. Don't worry. Then you know, Haz's older brother Ajib, he had also mentioned that point as well. He said, look, guys, you want to go to the next level, or you want to really get yourself, you need to do something like this.
Right.
So, you know, he said
that was like the second reminder.
That was the second reminder. And then other people started saying it as well. My own wife, my brother, a lot of people were like, yeah, do it. You know, you guys are interesting. People like you. People want to hear what you have to say. People want to hear the different, your different perspectives on different topics. I think it'll be a really good thing. Yeah,
and that was the beginning. And Hadi, I remember we made prayer, and then I remember after prayer, you turned around and he was like, so, all right, I think I understand what we're going to do now. Yeah. And whenever he does light bulb. Exactly. So it was amazing, and it was like, like that journey was just like, he was like, all right, let's do whatever we got to do. Let's do it, because we wanted to expand the reach of the social media page. Social media page is doing amazing. TikTok, we're going around the world. we building up a community, like a real community. Like when people see you, they'll say like, is that Hassan? Is that Hadi? Hadi, where you going? And they like know your travel itinerary better than everyone. They be like,
sick.
You know, he goes into stores. They asking for autographs. He's going to the Juma prayer. They want, you know, it's getting crazy. So we're like, wow, how can we expand our reach and give more value?
Well, that was definitely something a little bit different. I said, Hassan, I thought the guy was joking around.
No, he was serious.
And Hassan's like, nah. He's like, Hadi. He's like, listen.
He waited there too.
He needs your. He's like, just give him your damn autograph. I was like, I'm not giving him an autograph. I don't have a pen. I don't have anything. What are you talking about? Haz, I was like, I don't have any. What are you talking about? I don't walk around with markers now. I was like, this is crazy. He's just like, no. He's like, listen, just give him the damn autograph. Put it on a napkin. It doesn't do something.
Exactly.
Whatever.
But that shows you the value. Sometimes people see what you have before you see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. So, yeah, man, it's like, Hadi, man, he's like, you know what? And another thing is that, you know, you see the value in giving value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
Your whole thing is you want to help people.
Yeah. Look, as a community, you grow. And look, I've said this in one of the videos that we did. Remember we did this one we were by the harbor with all the boats and everything.
We're going to pull it up and put it in the video.
Yeah. A rising tide floats all boats. So if you want to be that rising tide, and you take all these great people with you to wherever they need to go. You know, I mean, everyone rises together. I mean, it just elevates you even that much more. It's much easier to do it with a team than to do it on your own. You know what I'm trying to say?
Like how I always wanted to ask you this: how coming from being a doctor, right? Like you're all the way up here and stuff. You're a doctor. Now you're doing something more in the creative space. How does that feel?
It's a wonderful thing. I gotta tell you, because look, the TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all these things are great, but they're like short clips, right? There's only so much you can give. People's attention span is very short. You know what it is. You know how it is, Haz, right? Mm-hmm. But this is Haz and Hadi Unplugged. I mean, just listen to the title.
That's right.
Right? The title alone kind of says it all. We get to basically be ourselves. We get to talk about a lot of different things, sensitive things, some things that aren't so politically correct or whatever. We get to talk about all this stuff in our safe space, in our own environment, have some really good guests, get some different opinions, different viewpoints on a lot of things. You'll learn a lot and you'll see a lot from different perspectives as well.
That's right.
And I think that's huge. There's not many platforms that really offer that.
Exactly. And it's like we're from like two different walks of life.
Different backgrounds. You
right.
know.
And it's like you have taken me as a brother and I have taken you as a brother. And it's cool because when people see it, they're like, so how did you guys meet? It's like you're like, oh, so in Africa and then here. And then so it's us talking about things that we need to talk about that we can't do in 7 seconds on TikTok or on Instagram. Yeah. And one of those things that is like just being consistent. So like we talked about how we got here. And then it's crazy because we ran into the research that it takes, because this is not I'm photography, videographer, but to do a podcast is a whole different type of...
Yeah, it's a new project, right. But that's what was exciting, right, Haz? I mean, it was very exciting to have just something different, something new. It's like learning a new skill, a new trade, from scratch. Mm-hmm. And that in itself brings like new excitement, new challenges, everything. But, like that video again, you gotta love the process, right? Mm-hmm. You can't just look at the goal, right? So the goal is nice. You're gonna hit your goals. You're gonna do great. Everything's wonderful. Right. But you have to enjoy that process to the goal. Mm-hmm. If you don't enjoy the process, then everything becomes a drudgery, right? Because like the goal is just. That's the end point,
that's just waiting.
That's just a piece of it. Right. So you're gonna struggle, toil, and turn and do all this and be miserable or whatever for like that short little goal at the end. Nah, that doesn't make any sense. You gotta enjoy it from start to finish. Then you'll actually achieve the goal because it's not a drudgery. It's not it's not work, quote unquote. It's something that you enjoy doing.
Right. It's not work. Like doing this is work. Like. this is like my sanctuary. You know what I'm saying? When I come in, you're like,
thank God. Yeah.
It's like, it's not work.
You know, we need that as humans. We all need that. You know, I mean, come on.
So what kind of, like, for the viewers that don't know, what kind of doctor are you?
So I'm primarily, I'm interventional pain and spine, right? Which basically means I do a lot of procedures, right? So I do a lot of these small procedures from basic like transfemoral epidural steroid injections all the way up to like kyphoplasty. So I'm putting cement in your spine.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, what we did was we made our facility basically a facility where we can give our own anesthesia. So we're able to do everything in-house, nothing at the hospital, which really kind of, well, one, it's so much more efficient. I'll tell you right now. Number two, because the amount of time it takes to do 3-4 cases in a hospital, I could do like 10, 12 cases
of my
own.
Oh, yeah, wow. Okay.
So, and two, look, financially too, it's a lot better because the hospital's not taking most of the money anymore, right? It's you're making the anesthesia, the facility, whatever. You know, and three, you know, it gives you a little more control. So when you have more control too, that's got a value in itself too. So, you know, I started doing that. Then I started dabbling in some like aesthetic medicine as well, which is like this cosmetic, you know, rejuvenation.
Just the Botox
and things.
and
This is all this stuff, you know, from the PRP, facial to whatever, you name it, you know, liposuction, whatever, all this stuff. Because, you know, I found some interest in this, and, you know, it was nice. Look, I do it. It's not that difficult for me to do, right? Because the regular work I'm doing is a lot more difficult. Two, the patient is very happy, right? Some of them get immediate results. They get these results. Some get it in like a few days, whatever it is. They're happy. There's no insurance involved, right? So that's a big thing too. You don't have to deal with
the middleman.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with prior authorization. You don't have to deal with any of the nonsense. Look, it's a simple transaction. You give the service, they give you the payment, and you're done, right? That was nice. Then, you know, I also like doing some of this vascular work as well. So I started learning a few procedures that kind of went along with pain, but they're also primarily vascular.
When you say learn, you had to go back to school?
No, you can take these classes now, right? So there's a lot of classes that doctors in their specialty will offer you. And, you know, you learn how to do a certain procedure or anything over 2-3 days, whatever it is. You get certified in it, you can do it, especially if it's minimally invasive or whatever, you're used to it. A lot of people, even a primary care physician can do it. A lot of people can do this stuff.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah. So we started that. And then, you know, also we have our own lab as well, you know, it's like a POC lab. It basically, you know, we can test our own patients or whatever. And we built that facility out. So from urine toxicology to viral screening to see whatever you have. You know, this is like something that we like to do as well. So yeah, I mean, I think on the medical side we're doing pretty good. You know, but I really needed that boost in the aesthetics. So that was definitely, I owe a lot of that now. Whatever success to social media, to you and your direction in that as well.
Yeah, and it takes a lot for someone who's already doing well to say, you know what, I'm doing good, so this is not going to hurt. A lot of people be like, no, if it ain't broken, I won't fix it. But you like...
Yeah, you got to try new things, right?
Yeah,
you know, I mean, that's like life. You got to try new things. Or even if you try to do businesses abroad, you know, as, you know, we try to do businesses abroad as well, especially in new markets, new things, you know. That's something that we're really looking into as well. But, you know, this is what makes life exciting. This is what makes life interesting. You know, you learn new experiences. You get all kinds of experiences from doing these things. And, you know, it really makes like a life worth living then. You know, because,
absolutely.
Like you don't want to be one of those people because you look around and, you know, I'm just giving this as general advice. It's just GA. But you don't want to be one of those people who just basically eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom. You know, they eat, sleep, and shit. Right, that's it. Real. They eat, sleep, and shit all day. They don't really provide any value. Don't do anything. Don't learn nothing. Don't, you know. I mean, this kind of person. I mean, what kind of life is that? You know, you're just living, you know, day to day. I mean, there's no purpose. There's literally nothing. I mean, you're basically maybe a degree above like an animal like in the woods, right? You know, I mean, what are you doing? So, I mean, I like to think we're better than that, or we're more than that. You know, people may disagree with me, but you know, and I think you mentally as well. Look, mental health is key. If you want good mental health, listen, you need good social relationships. You need a job satisfaction, or you know, you need some success in your business, or whatever it is. You know, you got to have good family ties, good friendships. You know, all these things. This will allow like an individual to kind of basically prosper and grow and whatever. So I like to like try to provide an environment like that for others as well, you know, because I think, you know, look, some people, it's not that they don't, you know, it's not that they can't become something great. It's just they haven't been put in the correct environment or the correct space to grow and be who they are and blossom and flower and all that. You know, a lot of times, look, you live by yourself. You're not married. You don't have kids. You don't have anything. You have a strange relationship with your brothers and sisters and your mother and father or whatever. There's a lot of people like that. You know, you're in a dead end job, or you're doing something you don't really have any passion to do or whatever. You're just doing it for like the comforts of like having a steady paycheck, or for the benefits or whatever your reason is. You know, this kind of person, you're just gonna get stuck. You're just stuck in a rut, you know. And how do you pull yourself out of that? Because ain't nobody coming to pull you out. Like, you have to start pulling yourself out. And then, like, if you start doing things and people notice that you're doing these things, then maybe they're more likely to help you, right? Because they're like, oh, there's a lot of potential in this person. You know? That's
the part. That's it right there.
Right. Gotta find the potential.
Gotta find the potential. Gotta find it. And when you have the potential, and then you find the person, and then it's easy to support them, because like, oh, he's already doing this, he's doing that. Let me just give him a little boost, and we go from there.
And look, it's a win-win, right? Because not only are they bettering themselves and they're growing, whatever, they're helping me as well, right? I mean, it's usually going into business with them, or you're doing something with them, or whatever it is. You know, there is definitely gain for both parties. And like I said, that's how everyone floats to the top.
That's it. And it's crazy because, like, I come from the education world, working 12 years for the Board of Ed, and leaving the job in COVID.
Right.
And taking that jump, like, you know what? I can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And I remember I asked Allah, I was like, is this all I got? Like, is this Allah? Is this all you got for me? Right. I remember going to the store.
He told me this in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. You know, we were in Medina, I remember, and he was like, you know, Mo, Hadi, this is what happened. I basically sat there and I looked and I was like, is this it?
This it? It's like I know there's more to the world. And I went in there a week later, resigned. They looked at me like I was crazy.
Of course.
They was like, you have a high administrative position.
You're giving up a steady salary, benefits, everything.
For
what? Hope and a prayer?
For a prayer. And the look that they gave me, I never forget it. I never forget the look. It was just like, okay. Because the ladies, the principal at the time, she's a great lady. She was like, okay, well, this is always going to be your school. Like, like if this don't work out,
you can always come back.
You can come back, brother. So,
and you were like, nah, I'm not coming back. You know, and
I'll tell you, that leap was the hardest leap I ever had to take.
Oh,
but it was worth it, because along that way, like I said, the journey. You know, if I didn't take that leap, we would never be here today.
That's right.
If I never took that leap, we'd never met in Saudi, Senegal. Right. We would have never had. So behind that door of fear was all of this.
I know.
And you know, walking to the studio today, I was like, yo, I remember walking to work and resenting, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work. I got to deal with this, emails and this.
That's how you know you're stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Today I woke up and I said, wow, I'm walking into my studio. I'm doing something I love to do.
Yeah.
So I consider myself, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of men and women both, but I've seen, especially in men, you know, young men or whatever, men in their 30s or low 40s or late 20s, whatever. They're living lives of like, they're like desperate. They just, you know, they don't know what to do and they're just stuck. It's like a life of just this like they're just like a robot just going through, life, a life of quiet desperation. I think that's what they call it, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you definitely showed me that it's more than life.
Oh yeah.
Than just getting money.
Well, we're learning that together. There's a lot. It's a learning process.
Yeah, and it's like traveling with you, and also.
I mean, did you ever think you'd be in Iraq? You
never.
Thought
Guys, Iraq.
Not safe Iraq.
I mean, Iraq. Airports, and they opening up your cameras.
Everything.
And,
7 checkpoints for 10 feet.
Yes.
Iraq,
Iraq and all of these countries that we've been through in the last 4 months. Saudi Arabia. Jamaica, London. Yeah. And I would have never, if you would have told me this, I was like, this guy's crazy, man. What is he talking about? Man. But that shows that we need, when there's potential, sometimes everybody needs support. Everybody needs that.
We all need support.
We all,
You know how they say it takes a community to raise a kid, a village to raise a kid? That's actually, it's true. Like, look, if it's just mother, father, look, you need the extended family. You need, like, help. You need babysitters, there's neighbors. You need grandparents. You need all these things. This is what really builds, like, that individual.
Exactly.
And if you don't have that, then it's very hard to expect much out of that person.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly. So that's crazy. So that all of that, we came together, and that's why we're here, and we're going to be going crazy. So now we're about to talk. We're about to go in a whole different world. We're about to see different people from walks of life.
Oh yeah.
We're about to talk.
Well, tell us a little bit about your walk of life. Like, look, you should know even like our background or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, career-wise, whatever. But just because growing up in America, being born and raised here, from different. It's the elephant in the room. I mean, look, in America, these things matter. your race, religion, these things. I know they say it doesn't matter, but it does, because people judge you based on these things. So, Haz, tell them like a little bit about your background, and I'll tell them mine.
So my background, African American. My dad, Imam Saeed, African American, and my mom, Salwa Abdul Salam, African American, born in America but raised in the Senegal, West Africa. Right. So I was raised overseas, and in the community of Medina by Kaolack, where I met Dr. Hadi. It's like, see how everything's like connecting. And grew up in Harlem, New York, and Brooklyn. Came from very humble beginnings, and I have a family, 9 brothers and 5 sisters. So it was a lot of us.
Right.
It was a lot of us, and we definitely...
which is a challenge in itself.
Which is a challenge. Right.
Yeah. 9 brothers, 5 sisters?
Right. So it was like the Jackson 5 plus 5.
Right.
So I was in the baby group. And alhamdulillah, man, it was a blessing, because those growing up with a big family gave you the importance of family, sharing, being appreciative. And my mom passed away when I was 8.
Yeah.
May Allah be pleased with her. She died from sarcosis and lupus. Wow. But when she passed away, I was blessed to always have great stepmoms. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a great thing. I always, whether the relationship worked out with my dad or not, it was always great stepmoms. You know, one was like an educator for the UFT, another one who was married to my dad until she died, Mama Naja. Always great. Took me it was no step, nothing. It was like, you're my son.
Yeah. It's just like my grandfather would say too, is like nothing like having a good woman behind you.
Exactly. Nothing like
so
yeah, man, and that was the journey. And doing that, growing up as a young man, going to Africa, coming back here, going to school, getting a college education, and it's like free on the city too. I got it for free. No loans. Married young, had 4 girls, and I started my life kind of young, bro. Like it was 18, 19.
It's very young. Especially now, it's like you're not even grown until you're like 30.
Yeah, even though her and I are not together anymore. We're great friends. We have 4 girls. But it was like, we look back and we laugh, we're like, yo, we were babies.
Yeah, 18, 19 is nothing, that's like right out of high school.
So yeah, and all of that, And we're going to get to behind that door in another episode. But all of that really got me to understand that nothing's for granted. Everything is an opportunity. Everything is, I try to seize every moment, bro. We need to know about you, brother. Like, start us from the beginning. Talk to us.
Look, I was born in Queens, New York, St. John's Hospital. That hospital, I think, shut down on Queens Boulevard or whatever. But I was born there. We moved out to Plainview, Long Island. I was like 5 years old. We moved out to the suburbs, and I went to school here. I did everything here: elementary, middle, high school. Then I did a 7-year accelerated medical program.
What do you mean accelerated?
So they chop off a year out of your undergrad. So your undergrad, you get your bachelor's degree in 3 years.
Oh, okay. So you gotta be super smart for that, though, right?
I mean, a little bit more, whatever. And what was nice was when I was done, like I had my doctor. I was a doctor by the age of 24. So I was actually probably like the youngest guy graduated.
Wait, like a doctor?
Like a doctor. You had to call me
24.
Doctor. Yeah. You could be like Dr. Hadi.
How did that make you feel?
24. I was probably the youngest guy in the class. I felt pretty good.
I would have been walking around like, listen, I'm a doctor.
No. It was pretty good. Look, I finished high school. I was 17. Then I skipped a year of college, basically. And, 7 years. As 24, I was a doctor. Then
Did you know in high school, like, I'm going to be a doctor?
Yeah. That was the thing. My mom's a doctor, right? So even my grandparents are a lot of my family is doctors. My brother's
so it's in the blood. It's in the blood.
Look, my brother's a doctor. He's in the business. My wife's a doctor. My mom, a lot of my aunts and uncles, especially my dad's one of 8. He's the only one that's not a doctor. He did engineering, and the other 7 did medicine. My dad's dad, he was a doctor. His father, we have a lot of basically medical people in our family, everyone.
Right.
So it's interesting because, my dad, he grew up in Hyderabad, India.
Oh, okay.
So, and he came to America in the 70s. He was a young man. He came to America. His father, he saw back in late 60s, 1970, really early time, America needed a lot of professionals. They needed engineers, doctors, pharmacists, all kinds of people, whatever. So a lot of the third world or developing world saw this, and it was an opportunity to really kind of come. It was much easier back then. So especially to Asia, they had opened up immigration or whatever. And, they had come here early, early for Indian Americans or whatever you want to call us, South Asians. There was a lot of people coming in the late 60s and early 70s. This was the first big rush of them. I mean, maybe a few came before, obviously, but as a big group, they started coming around this time. And our family probably jumped on this train and, came to America then. So even my father, he did some college here as well. He grew up here somewhat. And, and then it was just, my mom, she was also from Hyderabad, India. She was born there. They got married, I think in 1982. Yeah, I believe it was 1982 or 81. I forget. No, 1981. They're going to kill me. 1981.
He said it, I didn't say it.
1981, they got married, right? So, and then she came to America, and by 1982, she was here. And I was born in 83, end of 83, which makes me 40.
A big 4-0.
Anyway, yeah. So, look, it was, it was interesting. I grew up here in Long Island. I grew up in the suburbs, everything. Now I live, and I grew up in, I guess you could call it both my parents were professionals. So it's upper middle class, background, whatever you want to call it. And, now, thank God, alhamdulillah, we're doing well, and we moved to. Now I live in Old Westbury, which is a very nice neighborhood in Long Island.
Whatever. Very. He's being modest. Very, very nice.
I mean, it's a beautiful place. Look, you get nice housing. You have your own private police force. You have great schools. It's a great school district. It really is. But listen, I'd love for you to come and be our neighbor. It's like, there's a little bit of an entry fee, but whatever. But this is what we should shoot for. I mean, there's even nicer places in Long Island, but I'm very happy there. I gotta tell you, I really like it. And I practice medicine. I enjoy traveling. I do all these things. Yeah. I really enjoy business. I'm into different businesses. This is kind of like what makes me up. I have 3 children. One is in starting high. One started her first year in high school. One's in middle school, and then one's in elementary school. So they keep me very busy, very occupied, and I love them, and it's like they bring a huge joy to my life. I would say, even just look, I got married. I was also 24 at the time, is when I became a doctor, and that's pretty young, I think, for America in general. But it's old enough that it's time to be a man, or whatever. And at the time too, like you're starting out as an intern, or whatever, you're not making much money, this and that. But the minute like I had my first kid, then like this light bulb switch turns, like this sense of urgency develops as well, and like that's really kind of what helped motivate me to start coming out of my comfort zone and doing different things as well.
Right. You got another mouth to feed.
Oh yeah. And then those mouths keep coming. Those mouths come with a lot of other things as well. It's not just
it sure does.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, Hassan and I would say, Haz and I should say, I keep calling him Hassan. Haz and I should say. Yeah, Haz and I. The one thing that we have in common is, yes, we're both Muslim. We're both practicing Muslims. Right. Alhamdulillah, thank God, all praises for God. But, we do have pretty much nothing else in common, but we get along like
complete opposites.
But that's enough sometimes. But
and that's what this podcast will show. It will show 2 brothers from 2 walks of life. Yeah.
Very different perspectives on
very
things.
different perspectives.
Very different perspectives.
And sometimes you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, this guy's crazy."
Yeah, and we end up meeting in the middle, which is nice.
Always.
You end up meeting in the middle.
Always, because he's like, Hassan, come on. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But this podcast is going to be like no other because we're going to have an objective outlook on every person that
multiple
comes.
Viewpoints.
It's not going to be
interesting topics, some controversial, some not so controversial, but all very, very interesting.
Right. Every person that comes here, they're not going to be Muslim. They're not going to be from our walk of life, but we're going to learn from them. We're going to have good discussions, and we're going to be unplugged. And we want you to be on that journey with us. Right. And now you got a little history of who we are, where we came from, and what we're trying to do. We need everybody to like, subscribe, and share.
Yes.
And we need merch is coming soon. I know you see him with the Nike tracksuit. You see me with a little pink cone. What the color this is? Purple. It was purple. But
it's tie-dye.
Tie-dye. But we're going to have merch in the next coming weeks.
And it's beautiful.
And it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing merch. And I'll make sure you be the first one. We need to throw like a merch event. Have all of our fans.
And we appreciate the support.
Yeah, and the support. And all
it looks good. It looks really good.
I'm telling you, man. It's going to be my everyday attire. You know what I'm saying? On the podcast. But make sure you like and subscribe. This is the Haz Hadi podcast, Unplugged. Stay tuned.